All right. Welcome everybody to this session tonight, hosted by Stellenbosch Business School. It's what we call the virtual open days, and this one focuses on the project postgraduate diploma in financial planning. I'd like to welcome to the session um, some colleagues of the business school, foremost um, Dr. Mosili Lepheana, who's the head of the program, the program coordinator, Melanie Koopman, the alumnus for this program, Robin Hallwell, Cheryl Kunrad, who's part of our marketing team. Tanashi, thanks very much for yourself as the GTA for this program, and then as well also the senior director for Stellenbosch Business School, Professor Chris van der Werven. So yeah, so that's basically it. And just for those of you who are not familiar with the business school, it's a place where you come for a degree, but you leave with so much more. And part of that is, we all it's our mission and our vision that we have. Our values are, of course, it's excellence that we try to deliver. There's equity, there's respect for everybody within the business school. There's compassion, there's accountability, and we like to see ourselves as an institution that is there to create a better world. So, for those of you who are not familiar, we have what's what we call a rockstar academic team, led, of course, with Prof. Van der Werven, who's on the call today. So, there you can see some of uh, our lecturers, our program heads, as well as Dr. Lepheana, who's also a part of that rockstar team, and so forth. So, a lot of these programs will have virtual open days throughout the month of May. So you do not only have to join this one, but if you're interested in any other program, please feel free to, you could just go in RSVP to those ones as well. A little bit more about the Stellenbosch Business School. Yeah, we are one of the top ranked business schools in Africa. We are 1% Triple Crown accredited. So, that is a Triple Crown accreditation. And yeah, it's the AACSP, EQUIS, and AMBER. And yeah, we've been around since 1964. That's 60 years and going. And just to have that kind of longevity within the space tells you a bit about just how strong the business school is in what it does. For those of you that do not know, we are not situated in Stellenbosch. We are situated within the Tyger Valley precinct, Bellville area, in Cape Town. It's about 20 kilometers from Cape Town, or the Cape Town CBD, and 20 kilometers about from um, Stellenbosch University as well. I can just some background noise. So yeah, so we've got a strong alumni network of 35,000 plus. We partner with about 15 universities as well, or other business schools. We've got 6 research centers, 34 core faculties, and yeah, we publish quite a bit. And just 65 plus articles was published in 2023. So for this program, it's very important that you remember these dates. Applications have opened. They open on the 1st of April. However, they do close, and they close on the 31st of October. And for RPL, which is recognition of prior learning, that closes on 30th of September. The reason for that is RPL applications need a little bit more extra time in terms of processing. So it's important that if you are an RPL candidate, that you try to get that application completed by the 30th of September. So yeah, so that's just a little bit of the business school, and I'm going to hand over soon to Dr. Mosili Lepheana. She's the program head for this program. She's a lecturer, of course, at the business school. She's previously been at the University of Johannesburg. Experience includes auditing, financial advisory, governance, and oversight of development and finance institutions. So yeah, so she's been in the financial or finance game for quite some time, and her research interests are financial literacy, debt management, financial sector development, financial inclusion, retirement, and investment planning, which essentially tells you it's all about financial planning. So, Doc, thank you very much for your time, and for doing this for this evening. So, over to you.
Thank you so much, Henry. I would firstly like to welcome everyone for the open day today, and we are quite excited that you decided to put your time aside and join us for today. I get very excited when I talk about our program. The reason being that we offer a quite different program to other institutions. And I'll just tell you about it as we go through all our slides so that you can hear what sets us apart from other institutions that offer the same program. Our program, as I'm sure you are quite aware, is an NQF level 8 and is recognized by the FPI, meaning once you have qualified with our program, you are eligible to take the pathway of financial planning with the FPI. And you can write their assessment. They did change the way of assessing in the past years, but I'll explain that as we continue. All right, we can move to the next slide. All right, so this is our outline for today. Firstly, I'll go through the program overview, and then I'll tell you why you should, or try and convince you why you should consider our program over other programs. And then we'll go through the curriculum and the structure of the program, the learning outcomes, who should apply for the program, the admission requirements, and how the program is delivered throughout the year. Then Henry will take over the last 2 points. Thank you. All right. So why financial planning and what does the program offer? So what I'd like to say is in the past, if you are aware, the financial planning industry was mainly classified by salespeople. So there was a lot of misconception that financial planning is just the selling of products. So over the years, the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa, together with other institutions internationally, have tried to drive that narrative into a more professional qualification or professional industry. And how do they do that? They do that through an education, which is what we offer, where we come in and experience, proper experience, and then also the professional qualification, which is offered by the financial planning industry. So what we do as an institution is to train our students into becoming a well-qualified financial planners, to provide them with enough information and confidence for them so that when they leave our qualification, they are able to join the FPI and get the CFP profession or designation, which is also recognized globally. Besides I think that the difference when you look at all the financial planning globally is the tax application in different countries, and then secondly to be regulation. But our qualifications in the Southern Africa from under the FPI umbrella is recognized globally. So the program was launched in 2005, and it provides a rigorous academic content, and also we encourage a peer-to-peer learning between the students and online case-based practice. So what we also added to our program is a simulation which provides the students with a sense of the practical aspects of the program, which is also unique for our program as compared to the other programs. So the program, it's 120 credits, which is a requirement for an NQF level 8 program. It is a 1-year program, which is very important because there's a misconception that the program can be done in 2 years. but the program is just for 1 year. There are cases where students have to apply to maybe carry over to the following year, but those are unique cases. And it's delivered in a blended format with 2 evening classes per week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And like I said, our program is approved by the FPI. So what they do to ensure that the standards of our program are aligned to their standards, they do an auditing every 4 years. Our last audit was in 2024 and it was approved again. So they do the audit every 4 years to ensure that the content of the program, the lecturers on the program, and the way the program is run is aligned to the requirement of the FPI. All right. Next slide. Okay, so what do you do over those 4 years, over a period of that year? It is quite intense. So what I normally advise the students at the beginning when they register is to ensure that you have proper support from either work, because most of our students are working, and also from home, because it gets very intense. So the 1 year you'll see is not enough for us to cover everything that we do throughout the year. So the content is quite intense. And because it's an NQF level 8, it's not an undergraduate program, students also undertake to do a lot of studying on their own. They have to push themselves. We do provide sessions, like I said, on Tuesdays and Thursdays to try and guide you, but it's not enough to cover everything. So there is a lot of information that you have to do self-study in. There's a lot of assessment that you have to do, including the quizzes and the individual assignment and the group assignment for each module. So within that year, you do 4 modules. The first module is called financial planning environment, which sort of introduces you into the financial planning environment. It has tax, it has time value of money, and also regulation framework. And then it's done on the first quarter of the year. Then once you have completed that, you do corporate financial planning. The corporate financial planning then introduces business entities. You also look at health planning. You look at retirement funds and retirement planning. Then the third module, which is done in the second half of the year, the third quarter, is financial planning, personal financial planning, which is estate planning, investment planning, and risk and insurance. Then the last module is not new content. The last module is our case study. Case study, it incorporates all the first 3 modules. You have to bring them together. You go through different case studies with your lectures. You practice up until you write your assessment. So here, that's when you apply everything you have learned from the beginning of the year and incorporate it into one. For you to be able to do the case study module, you have to pass all the first 3 modules. So what happens is if you fail module 1, you can do module 2 and 3, but you will not be able to do the case study module. So you'll have to come back the following year and repeat module 1 and case study. So it's also quite important to note that for you to proceed with case study module, you have to first pass the first 3 modules. So what will you gain once you are done with our program? I think I've mentioned that a little bit at the beginning. I did mention that there'll be 2 things that we want you to leave here with. It's not just the academic content. We also want you to leave here with the confidence to be able to go face your clients, the confidence to go out there and work, and also the confidence to go try out with the Financial Planning Institute your case studies and do your CFP route. So immediately once you qualify, so normally our graduations are in March, but immediately when you get your results in December, you do qualify to register for the CFP pathway. So you can use your transcript to register for that and start immediately in January. You don't have to wait for the graduation. And you leave here with a lot of information, especially those students who are not in the industry, who come straight from the undergrad, because we still do have a portion of students that come straight from undergrad and are not working. So you leave with a lot of information about how the regulation work, like your retirement regulation, your tax regulation, and all other that the state regulation. And then you are able to also interpret a lot of financial concepts that you have learned throughout the year. And you have credibility because now you have taken a step ahead and added a qualification to your name. And I think what I also like to emphasize when I talk about what will you gain is throughout our assessment, we try to also incorporate the group assessment, which I'll talk about just now. So the group assignments also, it helps you live here with not just the education, the confidence, and all that I've mentioned. Most students, they live here either with mentors, they live with friends, they live with people that they can who can guide them in the industry, who have been in the industry for a longer period. So that interaction with different students throughout the process also helps you with that. We try to change our groups for all the modules so that you get a chance to interact with different people throughout the year, not just the same people, which we have seen that it also works out quite well. So it's quite interesting also to see that most of our students are online. They never meet face to face, but the relationships that they form through those group assignments and the interactions in the sessions also are quite impactful in their studying journey. Okay. Next slide, Henry. Okay, so who can thrive through our program? It's people who are already practicing in the financial planning or financial advisory industry, wealth managers, and also people who just want to change the careers. So I've had people who come to the program who even engineers. I think there was a year that we had somebody from Namibia who did engineering and they wanted to change their career path. Because they started working in the financial planning industry, but their undergrad qualifications, they were strong in maths and other aspects, but they wanted to change the career because they've been working in the industry for quite some time. So you get people like that also who wants to move into financial planning. You get people with the law background because we do admit a lot of students with law background, but not necessarily financial planning, who wants to get more involved in the financial planning industry. So there's different types of students, which also makes the journey of that period quite interesting. So we get different types of students who are very strong in financial planning. And also remember, financial planning has a lot of different paths. So it can be somebody who works in the investment section of financial planning, it can be somebody who works in the pension funds, it can be somebody who works in estate planning. So the interactions and the conversations also during the sessions are quite interesting. You can see who's strong in which section and who's stronger in the other, which also helps. It comes back to what I talked about with the group work. It helps with that. So people, anybody can, for me, anybody can thrive in this program. It just depends on your reasoning for doing the program and your motivation for doing the program and how determined you are to learn from that here. So it's quite an interesting program, and it has aspects that accommodate a lot of different individuals with different background. So for applications, I won't go into deep details. I think Henry has already talked about the deadlines and who should apply when, the RPL route. So my part in that is just to tell you who qualifies, who can apply. It's normally the relevant bachelor's degree. I want to emphasize on the relevant bachelor's degree part. When we say relevant, we mean somebody who has a background in financial planning. So remember, I've mentioned that the year is quite intense. So there are certain concepts that we assume that you have the background in. So we won't have time to start from the basics. We start from the level 8 level and we continue. So if you don't have a lot of background in that, you'll struggle with some concepts. So the entry requirement will be the relevant bachelor's degree, which is either your BCom or the business science. BCom, it can be any BCom because the first year normally it's general, it's the same. and then it changes as people specialize in second or third year. And then we also take students with LLB or any law degree because we do a lot of regulation. Our content, it has a lot of regulation. Like I said, we do tax regulation, we do estate planning also has a lot of regulation. Retirement planning has a lot of regulation. And there's also a section in regulation, our first module. So students who have law qualification, they do well also in the program. And the qualification has to be an NQF 7 level or higher. So it can also be an honors level. We'll do consider that also. If you do not have the relevant bachelor's degree, then we have an RPL entry route. With the RPL, you have to have, it can't be advanced certificate in anything. It has to be advanced certificate in financial planning, which is an NQF level 6. And the advanced certificate in financial planning, it has to be from an institution that is recognized by the FPI. So sometimes there are cases that you find that when you did your qualification, your institution at that time was recognized by the FPI, but is no longer recognized. We do consider that. If you received your qualification during the time where the FPI did recognize the institution, but later on it lost its recognition, then we'll still make it into the program. But it's quite important that the advanced certificate, which is an NQF level 6, it has to be in financial planning. It can't be in business admin or anything different. And secondly, it has to be from a recognized institution by the FPI. And then the second part of the requirement is that you need to have 5 years relevant work experience. So relevant work experience, it has to be related to the financial planning industry or maybe the finance industry, but it has to be relevant to the qualification. So it has to be in finance, in the financial institution. It has to be relevant to the qualification. Okay. Yes. So the second thing that I want to emphasize, which is always an issue when we talk about the admission requirements, there are people who will have an NQF level 7, which is not a relevant qualification, and they have experience. So it becomes a problem. If you have an NQF level 7, there's no requirement of experience. The experience requirement is only for people who come in through the RPL route. So the regular entry, the straight entry, it has to be a relevant NQF 7 or higher. So at that level, we do not even look at your experience because it's not relevant. It's only relevant if you do apply through the RPL entry. Okay. All right. So because we do our assessments through Excel documents, it's quite important that you have at least Excel literacy. It's not a major thing. You won't miss your admission just because you haven't used Excel before, but it's recommended that you do know how to use Excel because it's quite important for the assessment. It makes your job easier. You can learn once you have started to be able to work around it, but try and make sure that it's a skill that maybe you acquire before you start your program. So for all the international applicants, you do need to convert your qualifications with SACA to make sure that it's an NQF level 7. It will make your application smooth and quicker. Okay? Right. Okay. All right. I think you skipped, Henry, I think you skipped one slide. There was one slide about
I can just check for you.
the sessions.
Yeah,
Can you check before this one?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's this one.
Yes, this one. Okay, the summary one. Yes. All right. So just to summarize on everything that I have said, remember, I did say the program, it's 1-year program. That is very important. It's a 1-year program, not 2 years program. And then the second important part is when we have our sessions. So we have our sessions on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. The classes starts at 6:15 until 8:15. There are some lecturers who sometimes stay for 15 minutes after the session have ended just to give students time to ask questions and have conversations. But the required time for the sessions that you need to make sure that you attend is 6 until 8. And all our sessions are compulsory unless you have an emergency. We do understand people have cases where they're unplanned and they can't attend classes. Then you have to make sure that you let Melanie know that we won't be able to attend. Our sessions are not recorded. So if you miss a session, you have to ensure that you catch up on your own. We upload all the slides, all the information that was used in the sessions for students on our learning platform. So that information will be available for students, and you have to make sure that you catch up on your own if you do miss classes. There is a certain percentage. It will be communicated at the beginning of each module when we provide the course outlines for you to know how many sessions you are allowed to miss. And remember, it has to be emergencies only. I also normally advise students not to just miss the first sessions because you never know what will happen towards the end. So you cannot miss above that percentage that is allowed. Hence why it's important to also let Melanie know when you miss the session so that she can tell you that you've already missed more than you are allowed to. Right? So the program, it's not full, it's blended. So we do at the beginning of each module, we do send out a questionnaire to find out how many students would like to come and attend on campus and how many will be online. We have seen that more students are moving towards online because we also have a lot of students who are not based here in the Western Cape. But you do have that option of coming on campus and then attending the lecture on campus, or you can join online, which is quite good and flexible for students. Sometimes they're traveling, they have work trips, and they can still attend our sessions. Our assignments, like I said, and assessments, we do have 2 assignments per each module. It's an individual assignment and a group assignment. And then we have exam at the end of each module, which is also done online. Like I said, you use Excel sheet to write on that, and then you upload your Excel sheet. You can also, for the assessment, if you are in the Western Cape, you can book a room and come right on campus. If you feel it makes you a bit calm when you are on campus with the stable internet, we have that provision also for our students. But if you're comfortable where you are, you can do your assessments online also. We have one orientation at the beginning of the year. It's also online, but it's compulsory. So the sessions, the orientation, all that is compulsory. You have to attend them because we have tried to accommodate all our students regardless of where they are based in the world. All right. I think that's about it from my side. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mosili, for that insight into the program. So yeah, just moving on quick. So yeah, so what we try to do at Stellenbosch Business School, you know, and then the foundation is what we've tried to set is, you know, we try to develop, you know, all our students, you know, through our teaching programs or through our programs and teaching. We try to, you know, demonstrate through our research, you know, the various outputs, and you know, we distinguish, you know, we'd like to call ourselves a distinction amongst the distinguished. And you know, we aspire to be a source of value for a better world, as I mentioned earlier. And responsible leadership is a core of that. As you'll see if you visit our campus, you'll see, you know, echoes of responsible leadership throughout the campus in our communication. And that is what we want you to be. Some of you already are, but you know, we want to mold you into being a responsible leader at the end of the day. And so yeah, so for you to start your journey is, you know, to apply. You can apply online. All our applications are done online. And if you have a little bit of or some hiccups, you know, you can just email us as well. Our details are there. You know, our details are on the website as well. And so yeah, so that's essentially the program in a nutshell. We'll have some questions later. But speaking about responsible leaders, I'd also like to introduce one of our alumnus. Her name is Robin Howell, who's from Signia. And Robin, thanks once again for your time. I know that you've got some limited time available tonight. You heading off, I think, to some concert or something fancy. So thanks once again for joining us. So Robin's just quickly going to just share with us her journey throughout the program and give us a few more a few more insights. So yeah, Robin, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I thought myself, I'm feeling kind of nostalgic listening to all of this. I so missed my time as a student. Almost want to sign up again, but unfortunately that's not possible. Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thanks very much for having me. Yeah, brief background. I work as a senior legal advisor. I'm the company secretary, and I'm a trustee of some of Signia's retirement funds. I did the postgraduate diploma in financial planning at Stellenbosch during 2024. And then in 2025, I then earned my CFP designation from the Financial Planning Institute. I was the last batch of students that was able to write the exams that the FPI offered. I understand now that the process is that you do a case study instead. So if you're wanting to proceed from this course and earn your CFP designation, this course sets you up perfectly in order to do that. I did have a brief stint as a financial planner, and I quickly realized that my heart is very much with law. I am a lawyer, and I was able to return back and work again as a legal advisor. That said, if you work in financial services, or if you want to work in financial services, this program will serve you incredibly well. Obviously, it's very much focused on financial planning and on advising clients, but the content is applicable in almost every area of the industry. So whether you're working with clients, you're client facing, whether you're in the middle office or whether you're in the back office, this course, it explains how everything in that industry works. And I am a bit of a nerd. I love research, and I can hand on heart say I researched all the financial planning courses out there and concluded this was definitely the best one to do, and that's the reason why I signed up to do it. So if you are thinking of doing a financial planning program, I promise you this is the best one out there. What I'd also like to point out is I think from a timing perspective, next year would be the perfect time to do a course like this. There's a big piece of legislation called COFI, the Conduct of Financial Institutions Bill. We're expecting it to become an act next year, and you will benefit greatly by having brilliant academics explain it all to you in a classroom environment during module 1 of this program at the beginning of next year. I almost want to register again just for that benefit. So from a timing perspective, I really think 2027 is the year to do this program. I'm going to quickly share a couple of survival tips. The program it's very doable, but it requires a significant amount of dedication and commitment. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It requires a lot of hard work. It's possible to do it working full time. It's possible to do it if you're a parent. My class had a very broad range of students. We had recent graduates, people who were still living at home, who just got their undergraduate degree. We had single parents. We had we had retired people on the program as well. So a complete range of ages and people at various stages of life. So my top 5 tips for you would be, number 1, cancel your social life for the year. Your people around you, your circle, your friends, your supports, your life partners, spouses, etc., they need to be on your side, and you almost need a commitment from them to say, yes, I will support you in this year of study and dedication. Second tip, as a class, we set up WhatsApp groups, which were incredibly useful and helpful. We ran 2 groups. The first group was a broadcast-only group where our very dedicated class reps would inform us of absolutely everything that was going on. Super useful. Yes, you'll get the information by email and through logging onto the university's portal, but to get it in real time on your phone immediately was super helpful. And then our second WhatsApp group was a bit more busy and chaotic with a bit of banter and sharing of questions, etc. And it was up to you to decide when you wanted to put that on mute or not. But it's a great way for you to connect with your classmates, because you will form very close relationships through the WhatsApp groups, through the projects, through all the studying, etc. It's an intense period. Third tip, paper or electronic. Make a decision early on in the program, like literally at the beginning, whether you want to, work in a paper-based environment, purchase a physical paper textbook, print out all your notes, etc. That route worked for me. But I have to say I was a bit jealous of the guys with the electronic textbooks. They were easy, using that control F function. They found it a lot easier to navigate and get to the correct pages a lot more quickly than I did. So I think if you can, and if you can organize your information well, I would recommend keeping all your information in electronic format. You need to be able to find it quickly. Our exams were all open book. I assume it's still like that. So you need to have access to your information quite quickly in that exam environment, and being able to search and find it it's an important skill to master before the exam. Fourth point, form smaller study groups if you can. It's not for everyone, but you work very closely with a lot of people. You form great friendships, and where those relationships work. I ended up studying with 2 other people, and it just worked incredibly well. We were able to hold each other accountable. If we set a time to go through a past paper, we didn't want to drop, the other person. So it meant you had to show up, and that meant that you got that piece of work done. Whereas if you're just on your own, it's quite easy to say, oh yeah, maybe I'll get to it tomorrow or something like that. And then the last point I just want to touch on is I don't know what the university's policy is, and I'm sure they have a policy, but I'm certainly finding it a challenge in my work, and a good challenge in my work environment, and that is the use of artificial intelligence. And I don't think we can ignore it, but my advice to you guys would be to use it cautiously and wisely, and certainly within the bounds of the university's policy. Be aware, get to know what the policy is. You are interacting with super experts in their field who will very easily be able to spot any errors on anything that is AI generated. And you're also going to be dealing with content that is literally brand new, hot off the press. When you learn all the income tax laws, that legislation changes every single year. The retirement fund laws have gone through a meaningful overhaul in the last couple of years. There were more amendments early this year. So the AI models don't necessarily search and check the right content. So just be very, very careful. Find ways that work for you in a positive way. make sure that you are within the bounds of the university's policy. And I genuinely think there really is no substitute for putting in the hours that are required to spend the time and read those chapters in those textbooks. That for me is the best way that, you know, that you'll be able to master the subject matter. So yeah, I mean, my heart is with this program. I absolutely love it. I loved my year as a student. I wish I could do it all over again. It is an absolute privilege to study. It's an indulgence. And I urge you to see it that way, rather than a means to an end. If you choose to sign up, embrace the program and enjoy the journey. Thanks. Happy to take questions. I don't know how that's going to work.
Thank you very much, Robin, for that one. Truly appreciate it. Yeah, for those, especially those tips as well. Yeah, so we're going to go over to the Q&A session, and I know that you've got some limited time. And I just quickly want to just ask you a question, Robin. How did you balance? You do mention, you know, you need to put in the hard hours and all of those things, and yeah, all the scary stuff. But just quickly, how did you balance, you know, social, family, work, and so forth? Yeah.
There was no balance. It's an intense year, and I gave up my social life. That was the piece that I gave up. And I think I did it willingly. That was my commitment to my year of study. And you know, my friends, my family were on board with it as well. And it was a social pact I made with the people around me at the beginning of the year. I said, guys, I really want to do this. It means a lot to me, but it means that there's not really going to be balance this year. It's going to be focused on this program. And I will do my best to, you know, give what's left of me to you guys. But yeah, something does have to give. You have to make space for this program. So by definition, you have to give something up. And then you just plan around it. You get the planner at the beginning of the year. You can see when the lectures are. You can see when the deliverables are, and plan for that.
All right, great stuff. Thanks for that. Kathleen Crone, just quick one, Robin says, thanks, Robin. Please send my regards to Tim. We worked together at Deloitte many years ago. Kathleen Muir.
Oh my word! Wow, it's my brother-in-law.
Oh, okay. All right, you see, this is where family connects as well. All right, we're gonna open
No,
up.
she's referring to Tim, who's my brother-in-law. Wow.
Oh. All right. Thanks for that, Kathleen. Okay, so we're gonna open up questions. You can feel free to put your questions in the chat, or you can just unmute and switch off your camera if you can, and then yeah. So, any questions that you have for any of the speakers tonight?
Henry, can I just add that
Yep.
Robin was not just a graduate or didn't just complete in 2023, she was actually our top student. So I just want to echo on the fact that she mentioned that she had to put everything aside and dedicate all her time to this. So it showed. And then the second thing that she's been talking about, I think, in most of her engagements was how studying with other students helped. And I think also for the time that I've been here, their group, the one thing that I saw with their group is working together. It was a group that literally worked together. They used those WhatsApp group to help each other share information. I remember she actually shared some of the textbooks that she had, the soft copy with the students. So they pulled each other throughout that year up until the graduation. So that's another good thing about our program, to watch our students work together and get to the finish line together.
Oh, great stuff. Thanks for that, Mosili. We are where to, as a question. If the exam is online, is it open for 24 hours or is it a limited time, like 3 hours? And secondly, which textbooks do we use? Are the soft copies available? And also, I just want to add to that one, Doc, are textbooks provided?
No. So the students do buy textbooks for themselves. You can buy a hard copy or an ebook. And for the second question about the exam, our exam is in two parts. We have the morning assessment and the afternoon assessment. With the morning assessment, we open it at 8 and you have to be done at 11:15. So it's 3 hours, 15 minutes with the 15 minutes for reading. So it's 3 hours in the morning, and then the second session will start at 2. It's also 3 hours, and then the 15 minutes for reading.
Thank you. Kathleen, question for the application, do you only need to supply work experiences and references as an RPL, or do you need this as someone with a relevant degree?
No, it's just for the RPL students. It's just for the RPL. The relevant degree ones, you don't need experience for that.
Yeah. So we would have students, for example, that are maybe third year or fourth year, currently, finishing up the undergrad. So they would apply already with I think it's the first semester results for next year.
So yes, so the students who are currently doing the undergrad, they do apply with the transcripts that they have now. So what we normally do, we'll give them a conditional acceptance. If they do qualify, if they're doing the qualifications that is relevant to the program, they'll get a conditional acceptance with the condition that they complete the current qualification before the registration closes. The reason why I emphasize on that point is because you do find students that get the dean's concession and then they write to the exams later on. And the results come out by the time that we have already started on the program. So unfortunately for students like that, if your results don't come out before we close our registration, you'll have to defer and come back the following year.
Thank you. All right, we've got a hand up there. Tubby, yes, you feel free to speak.
Thank you very much and good evening to everyone. I just wanted to find out, I enrolled for this program during COVID. I think it was around 2020 with UFS. And I did 2 modules and I'm left with 1 module and a case study. So I'm quite keen to enroll with Stellenbosch Business School. However, I just wanted to find out if I will be credited for the 2 modules or will I have to do the whole program from scratch?
Okay, I missed the part. When did you do the other 2 modules?
That was around 2020 during COVID. Yeah, just during COVID. Yeah.
Okay, and unfortunately, you'll have to restart the program. So what we do we do transfer credits from other institutions, given that the content of that module is the same as our content. But also the period when you pass the module, it cannot be more than 3 years because of the regulation changes in our programs. So unfortunately, at this point, you'll have to restart the whole program.
Thank you. Thank you for the information.
Thank you, Tubby. Okay, just in the chat, we all wait. What is the most common job done by the graduates from this application? From your experience, the more people go work at the bank, health investment firms, or corporates in general. So essentially, I'm graduating. What are my opportunities and where do I go?
It's quite wide. There's a lot of opportunities. So like I said, because of the content of our program, it provides you with the basics for a lot of things. So there's a lot of people who, some work in pension funds, some are actually based in institution to advise pension members for that particular fund. There are people who practice on their own. They open their own consultancy where they do financial planning for their group of clients. There are people who are hired by other companies that do financial planning for their particular. So they have a certain group of clients that they assist with financial planning. And what I've also picked up, it also depends on where you're working. Even those companies that do financial planning, they can maybe either sometimes focus more on investment planning, or they can have a different section where they have advisors that focus on retirement planning only or estate planning only, or they do everything. So it depends on you as an individual. Like, what do you like more? What do you want to pursue more? And then you can decide from there. It's not just the bank. So I did get that also at the beginning when I started teaching on financial plan. There was a misconception that once I'm done here, I'm going to be a teller at the bank. No, there's a lot of opportunities for you once you're done with financial planning. It just depends on you.
Thank you for that. Caesar, I'm a medic and completed the NQF Level 8 diploma, postgraduate diploma in business administration, and would like to enroll for this program. Would I qualify for this program?
NQF Level 8 in business administration.
Yeah.
Yes, I think, and
Yeah.
business
I should.
administration is, yes, business
Yes.
administration is a relevant qualification. And if it's already on NQF level, because we did say relevant qualification from NQF level 7 and upwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I've also seen sometimes we have applications where, for example, Caesar says that he's a medic, so a lot of people actually take up this for themselves as well. Mosili, where they want to manage their own funds, they want to manage, maybe they've got a private practice or a small business, so they don't necessarily go and do this to go work, for example, at a major bank or investment firm, but they do this for their personal well-being and so forth. Okay, Kathleen, I studied a long time ago. I have my academic transcripts, but can't find my degrees. I do have my CA certificate, and I'm an active member with SAICA. Would I need to still ask UCT for copies of my degrees, or would the transcripts and the CA certificate be fine? Yes, we do
I don't know
need
if,
we do need a copy of the degrees. Yeah. So usually what you can do, Kathleen, I'm not sure, it's a little fee that you'd need to pay. Even if you need an academic transcript, it's a small fee that you'd need to pay. Just asking for a reprint, and yeah, that should work. But however, we do need because even when you upload, there will be a section that says upload your academic transcript, and there will be another section that says upload your qualification or your degree certificate. So unfortunately, in that instance, the portal won't allow you to proceed. It will only allow you to proceed if you are still an undergraduate student. And so yeah, then it might be a bit challenging. But you said you've been in contact with UCT, so yeah, that's a good start. Any other questions? Prof. Chris, just on your side, sorry to bring you in here. I just wanted to know from you, what are your thoughts just on people joining Stellenbosch Business School, and what they can expect as well.
Mosili's laughing because she loves it when you ambush me, Henry. Can I just actually take the opportunity? I apologize that I was a little bit tardy and arrived a few minutes late, but I really wanted to just welcome everybody and say it's great to have you come and investigate what this program's all about. You can hear from Robin the energy and enthusiasm that it generates, and Robin, thank you for all of that. That was just marvelous. Yeah, I think we've got such huge demand for very high level skills, and something like this is such a craft. It requires real dedication. And as Mosili said a moment ago, in response to the question about the lady that had studied at UFS, the things change so fast that staying up to date is really very important. And the one thing that we haven't spoken about this evening, which I just want to touch on, is that the great benefit of coming to a program like this is reminding yourself about learning to learn. So if there's a very short cycle time in regulations and so on, your ability to stay on top of that is re-energized by spending a year with us and around your colleagues. And also I do appreciate the comment that's made about faculty that are experts. That's absolutely true. They research in these fields, and so they do deep dives into very specialist areas. But the other thing that's really important, and this is why the selection criteria is critical, is that we try to make sure, and Mosili is on top of this in a very big way, that your peers in the room are people who can contribute to your learning. So that you have people from all sorts of different walks of life, different industry verticals, different levels, and different skill bases. And I think that's a very enriching part of what the program has to offer. And then just lastly, sorry, I don't mean to waffle on like this, but just lastly to say, I think that we are at a quite critical point. And again, Robin made the comment about AI. I was in a meeting today where this was a topic of conversation. We absolutely want you to be digitally enabled and AI savvy. It's what's expected by your clients, by your vendors, by your peers at work. And so we want to make sure that you are properly switched on when it comes to everything digital. That's true. But we are also at a point in time with learning at universities where there's a risk that you don't physically do the learning yourself, and your cognitive abilities are only tested if you actually challenge them. And so being able to work with AI is really very important. Being able to be more efficient, being able to test things, really absolutely critical. The cautionary tale about the efficacy of what you pick up in the AI world is also worth listening to. But in the end, you only actually learn if you apply your own mind. And I would argue that the intersection between applying your own mind and being face to face as much as possible in the classroom is the sweet spot of a really amazing learning experience. So, yeah, it's worth a bit of thought. But anyway, it's lovely to see everybody here. This is an antisocial time of the evening for most of you, I'm sure, having had a hard day at work. And so lovely to see you all. I wish you well with your applications. Thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Prof. Just a quick one. I think this was quite an important question, Robin. It was addressed to you. How do you handle group assignments remotely?
First, I find the unmute button. Exactly the way we're conducting ourselves this evening. I mean, you make use of Teams, Zoom, etc. And yeah, I mean, we ended up with this, some of the groups that I was in, some of the students were based in other parts of Africa. We had a student from Namibia in one of my groups. I had a student based in Kenya in one of my groups, and we communicate in the way that we communicate this evening. You connect, you work through the assignment, you delegate the pieces of work, and you set up times when people agree to meet their deadlines. And yeah, I think it's I mean, we did try initially. My first group assignment, 2 of us were physically based in Cape Town. We got together and then we connected with the other 2 people in our group who weren't based in Cape Town. And it was clumsy, and I felt like I'd spent half my day in my car driving to the other side of Cape Town to meet up with this person. It's obviously nice to meet him in person, but it was just way more efficient, even though some of us were based in Cape Town, just to do it all through the electronic media that we have available to us today. And it worked really, really well. So it's definitely not a barrier at all. It was quite fun as well, like thinking, doing an assignment with a guy in Kenya. This is great.
Well said. Okay.
Sure.
Thanks for that, Robin. Can you advise more or less when each of these exams for each module will be? Melanie, can I give that to you? Or Mosili?
Thank you, Henry. Yes, I'm actually busy answering Kathleen here as well. Good
Oh,
evening.
okay.
So the exams will happen so the first module will be out in term 1. That will be financial planning environment. That will be from January until until April. And then once you're done with the sessions, you will write the exam. So the term 2 will start from April until June, term 3 from July until September, and the fourth one will be from October until November. So once you're done with the module, you will write immediately the exam thereafter.
Thanks, Melanie. For those, if that weren't here when I introduced Melanie, Melanie is the program coordinator for this program. She's the backbone of this program. So she assists all students in this program quite efficiently, and so yeah. So thanks, Melanie, for also being here tonight. I am an optometrist in private practice for 30 years now. Do I qualify? Lee, I would suggest you give us a little bit about your educational background. So we need to know whether you've done financial modules and so forth. Right? Do you choose the groups, or are they allocated by the course convener? I'll leave that over to you, Melanie.
That will be, I will add you into groups and share the information with you. So the students don't have a choice, or they can't select a group. We will do that on their behalf.
All right. Anne-Marie, I'm having challenges with the application portal. What do you suggest, Henry? Anne-Marie, just a quick one. Are you a current student at Stellenbosch?
Good evening. Sorry, no, I'm a previous student, and so I've recreated another profile, but even with just inputs on adding your address, and then it just gives you errors. I can't change my physical address. So things like that, I seem to be going back and forth, and I don't seem to be able to sort it out myself.
Okay, I'm gonna I can't see. Okay, can I'm just ask somebody to just put my email in the chat quickly. What I'll do is I'll check that out for you, Anne-Marie. Okay, and you can just contact me with your application ID, and I'll just go in and see. It could be that it's pulling up something from the past that's pulling through. I do suggest it's pulling through your previous qualifications that you've done in Stellenbosch.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
100%. After completing the qualification, are we expected to rewrite exams each and every 4 or 5 years to keep up with legislation changes? That's interesting.
Not with us. So what happens is once you do the capstone qualification, you become a certified financial planner with the FPI. There is a requirement for you to do continuous learning. They just want to make sure that you keep up to date with any changes in the industry. So that is their responsibility. They are the one who manages that. With us, once you are done with the program, you are done. You just have to continue doing those short programs that the FPI do provide. There's also different providers that do provide those qualifications, just to ensure that you are up to date with any recent changes in the industry.
Thanks,
I'm sure
Mosili.
Robin can also add on that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So the FPI, in order to maintain your CFP designation, you've got to complete 35 hours per annum of continuous professional development. And there is ample amount of free material out there that you can access, and you'll just do an hour module here and there, just as a way of keeping up to date. And in that way, you then record your hours on the FPI's portal, and you've obviously got to meet their requirements of 35 hours per annum. But as so far as your PGDip qualification that you get from Stellenbosch, once you've got it, it's yours for life.
100%, that's yours for life. And so but you'll also come back either or, because of course you'd want to do some further studies and do some other programs and do a master's. And so you'll always stay within that within that cycle or in that chain as well. That's why Anne-Marie is coming back again as well, because she misses Stellenbosch University. Okay, any questions? Let's have some a last round, and yeah, we can take it from there. Okay, doesn't look like we have any questions. Okay, so on that note, I'd just like to thank you, Robin, for pulling through tonight. I know that you had some other obligations. I'd like to thank Prof. Chris van der Woofen as well, Melanie, Dr. Mosili, Cheryl, as well as Tanashi, who's doing the technical work for us in the background. Once again, we'll send the video recording to everybody, as well as the slides once they are ready. And if you have any other information, I did put my email address in the chat. So yeah, you can just pop me an email, and yeah, we look forward to reviewing your application and seeing you in 2027. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you very much. And yeah, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.